talk about how to safely use the parks this summer. So thank you so much, Tiffany.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Again, my name is Tiffany, and I am the Assistant Recreation Superintendent with the City of Fayetteville Parks and Recreation Department. And we have a bunch of amazing parks in Fayetteville and trails as well. So we know that this time has seen a lot of park and trail use. We just want to let people know about what park amenities are open, which park amenities are still closed, and then just some other considerations for when out and using the parks. So I guess, yeah, I'll start with parks and trails are definitely open. We do advise people to obviously still use social physical distancing when out on the trails and in the park. Some of the park amenities that are closed would include playgrounds, our hard surface like basketball courts and sand volleyball courts. The splash pad is still closed, but we have opened up tennis courts, and they are limited to singles use only. And we do have some hours for seniors blocked off in the morning. So tennis courts are available at Wilson Park and Walker Park. And then a number of the drinking fountains and restrooms, the restrooms and drinking fountains are still closed with the exception of one restroom facility at Walker Park. And we will soon be opening some of the trailside drinking fountains. We know that many people are getting out utilizing the trails, and it's starting to be summer and hot time of the year. And so we are going to be opening up drinking fountain access again to park and trail users. Oh, what else? So I guess back to the trails. Walking, running, biking are great activities to be doing year round. We just ask that people obviously think about health and safety while doing so. And with that, we just recommend that people plan ahead and make sure you know where you're going and let someone else know where you're planning to head out, and maybe approximately how long you anticipate being gone. It's always important to carry a phone with you, and helpful to this time of year again, carry your own water with you, carry some hand sanitizer with you, and just try to get out and utilize the trails when it may be a less busy time with other trail users. Or you could search our park and trail maps online and maybe find some new trails in your neighborhood, or an area that might not be as utilized as some of the main public trails that most people might be aware of. When walking and running and biking, we do still ask that people maintain 6 to 12 feet of space. And face covering is optional while doing, exerting physical activity and exercise. We would recommend that when you're not in the middle of your heavy workout, you might have one on just kind of, in park and trail space. And as far as fun things to get out and still do in the park, picnics are great. There's a lot of just open grass areas with shade, so it's always nice to throw down a blanket, have a little picnic. Just make sure that you're keeping your space from other groups. And again, water, hand sanitizer recommended. We have 3 lakes in the city. There's Lake Fayetteville, Lake Sequoia, and Lake Wilson. All of those are great places to go fishing. You can do just bankside fishing, or if you have a boat, get out and paddle on any of those lakes. We have marina operators and a bait shop at Lake Fayetteville and Lake Sequoia. So those would be places that have boat permits, a permit process that you need to purchase to launch. There's a minor launch fee for motorized and non-motorized boats. But you can do some fishing or do some paddling out at any of those 3 places. It's always a good solo or family activity. And let's see, what kind of questions might you have or activities that you might be wondering about?
I was wondering if there are any organized sports or those types of activities that are going on in Fayetteville this summer, or if those are running on a different schedule than they usually are.
Yeah, so typically in the summer, we offer adult softball and adult kickball. And right now we do have plans to start our adult softball program towards the end of this month. They're looking to start on June 22nd, I believe. We are not going to be starting adult kickball at this time, but softball is one program that will be taking place, and that's a sport that we offer spring, summer, and fall, and it takes place out at our Gary Hampton softball complex, which is located over on the west side of town. And there's men's and co-ed leagues of different skill levels that people can sign up for. And one of the neat things about Gary Hampton softball complex is that it has artificial infield turf. So it's very durable during some of the rainy days and seasons that we tend to see with our spring sports. And then just thinking ahead to fall and winter activities for adults, we have an indoor volleyball program, and that takes place at our Yvonne Richardson Community Center, which is a small community center on the southeast side of town, and we do an adult fall and winter volleyball league that has been a pretty big hit since it's been started.
Do you think that you'll offer the volleyball league in the fall, or are you just kind of waiting to see?
We would hope so. It starts late fall. It's more of like a October, November program, and then the winter season is January, February. Yeah, hopeful that it's something that we'd be able to host at that time. We also this year would be initiating a new adult program, which is soccer. There's been a big demand for an adult soccer league, and we were all set and ready to kick it off this spring. So that's been pushed back to the fall, which we were planning to have a fall season anyway. Don't know the status on it yet, but it's definitely something to look into. This should be a pretty exciting new program to the community. And one of our largest programs is actually our youth soccer program that typically sees about 1,500 kids in the fall and spring out at Kessler and a little bit at Lewis and Walker Park. So hopeful that one will be another one to get started in the fall as usual. Another exciting program that we are doing this summer is we typically host a series of camps for kids. The Yvonne Richardson Community Center usually has a day camp called the Summer Fun for Kids and Summer Fun for Teens. And then Parks and Recreation also normally hosts our Be Active Camp series, which has it's a half-day camp. Some weeks are sports focused and some are outdoor adventure focused. We have one that's focused on theater and arts. So the in-person camps had to be canceled, unfortunately, but what we have launched this week is a virtual camp, and that is called Virtual Play in Faye, and it's a free online virtual camp that is available for kids for 7 weeks throughout the summer, and it's for ages 5 through 12, I believe. They have to have completed kindergarten, I think up through, I want to say 7th grade. But yeah, so far it's been fun. It's neat to see how comfortable some of the kids in participation are, just like with Zoom meetings and Zoom webinars. So yeah, it's been a fun couple of weeks just getting the virtual camp put together, and it's been great to see the turnout that we've had so far, and we hope that it continues to grow throughout the weeks of the summer.
Can kids still sign up for that?
Yes, you can sign up through the Parks and Recreation website, and once somebody registers, they'll basically be receiving the camp information for each week. So you can just sign up once and be connected with us all summer.
Okay. What kind of activities are they doing?
This week we did a little bit of rock painting. And coming up we have an egg drop competition. They've been learning a little bit about how to make frozen chalk, sidewalk chalk. And then there'll be some sport-focused activities and some more art and craft-focused activities. So still brainstorming our full list of ideas for the 7 weeks. But, some tours as well as part of that. I believe they did a virtual tour of the Grand Canyon this week. We know that 1 week we want to focus on kind of all things Fayetteville and all things Northwest Arkansas, and make sure that they are aware of some of the great community resources out there that they'd be interested in. And another program that we are doing this summer that's currently happening is our Square to Square Ride Challenge. Typically twice a year, we team up with Fayetteville Parks Recreation and offer the Square to Square bike ride. And in the spring, it normally travels from, in the spring, it starts in Fayetteville and finishes in Bentonville. And it's a 30-mile ride along the Razorback Regional Greenway. And we had to cancel the spring ride, but we still wanted to offer something and encourage people to get out when safe and when comfortable to ride the spring course. And so we kicked off in the end of May the Ride Challenge, which basically encourages people to get out and ride the 30 miles on their own. And the Ride Challenge goes through July 5th. So about 45 days that they have to get out and explore the Greenway. And then those who participate will receive one of the spring finisher medals. So we've had a lot of people, almost 1,000 people sign up to do the Ride Challenge. And so we hope that everyone finds a good time to get out and have a safe and fun ride Greenway.
That is amazing. I'm so impressed that you have found so many creative ways to still engage with people and have them doing outdoor activities even when we can't be all together. I did have another question about something you talked on earlier, the trails. You had mentioned trying to go when it's not a busy time, and I know this is probably a tricky question, but do you know when busy times on the trail typically are and when it might be a little bit slower?
Sure. Well, evenings and weekends typically are when we see busy use, and if Saturdays are very, very busy along the Greenway and most of our trails. I would think, early morning and early afternoon times, probably a little less busy. Even though it is summer and there may be more people and families home and not working or working from home, I still think that evenings and weekends are going to be some of the busier times. And that might shift a little bit with the heat. But I think early morning is usually a good place to start, or later in the evening when things have cooled down and more people may be home with families and getting ready for bed could be a good time for others to sneak out and use the trails when they're a little bit cooler. I'm sorry, I can't hear if there's a question.
I think it might have been some feedback noise or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Thanks very much for answering mine. Does anybody else have any questions for Tiffany?
Do you know if Lake Atlanta is open? And Rogers?
Did you hear her question, Tiffany?
I did not. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? Maybe throw it into the chat box.
Is Lake Atlanta open in Rogers for walking?
And Rogers. I am not too sure on the status of that. I know that we've been in close contact with a lot of the other park and recreation departments to see when and how they're opening different amenities. But unfortunately, I'm not too sure on that. But their website usually is very up to date with information.
because I know my geriatrics group wants to do a walk at the last Sunday of the month at 1 p.m., but I don't know where they're going or anything yet.
Well, they do have some beautiful trails up there, both paved and soft surface in the lake, and most of which seem to be a little bit shaded, so even a mid-afternoon hike would be comfortable.
Thank you.
I have a question, Tiffany. Is there, I know there's probably maps of your trails online, like at Mount Kessler. Is there like, I haven't actually hiked on Mount Kessler. Are there certain ones that you would say maybe are more, I guess, like majestic, that maybe have more to look at, like water features or things like that, that you would suggest if someone wanted to go hiking?
Yeah, so first question is maps. We do have maps available on the City of Fayetteville website. A trail map doesn't always show you exactly what the scenic beauty is going to look like, but it can kind of give you an idea of the trail names and the length. But if you go to the City of Fayetteville website, one of the best maps to click on is under our GIS mapping page. There's one specific to parks and trails. And at Kessler, we also have sign kiosks there that kind of explains what each trail difficulty and distance levels are.
Okay.
As far as scenic ones to check out, I think some of the trails on the west side of the mountain, so by name that would be like Spellbound and Egg Beater. Those are some of the scenic ones that have some nice little vistas that overlook the west side. And then a fun one to get out on and hike is also Crazy Mary or Chinkapin Oak. And those are kind of on the east side and they run northwest. And they have some pretty vistas that look out over to Kessler Park itself. So some neat views there as well. They're all great as far as shade. Some of them can be very wet, and so we do have a few of them closed from time to time due to wet conditions. And there are Facebook groups specific to some of the different soft surface trail systems in Fayetteville where people can post on trail conditions. So that's just always another resource if you're thinking about going out for a hike, but maybe it rained a couple days ago and you're not sure trails might be like. If you search for the Mount Sequoia trail conditions or Kessler Mountain trails conditions Facebook groups, then you can usually find some updates on there with people conversing about if they're too wet, if there's trees down, if they've seen wildlife and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's a few like apps and things like that that you can use that people will suggest. They're usually mountain bikers, actually. Theirs seem to be good, but I thought I'd ask. So.
Yeah, Trail Forks and Mountain Bike Project are a couple of them that I know. There's pretty current information about the trail systems into those different apps.
Tiffany, would you be able to talk about the benefits of getting out and getting some exercise and enjoying the outdoors during this time when many of us are maybe feeling additional stress and possibly staying inside our houses a lot and not moving around?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's physical benefits to physical activity, but just getting out, just movement throughout the day is beneficial. So it's great if you go out and run for an hour, but if you're sedentary the rest of the day, you know, it's not as beneficial as when you're getting up and moving around. So people working from home, encourage them to think about maybe having a walking meeting if that's possible, and just get up and Zoom on your phone, on a safe sidewalk in your neighborhood, and just try to incorporate more movement throughout the day. And obviously, like I said, besides physical benefits of exercise, we know it's a good mental break. It can be really refreshing to just get some fresh air. to just sit in nature or outdoor scenery and listen to the sounds and take in the smells and just slow down for a little bit. It's just a good way to recharge and help with stress. Can just help give people space to kind of work through challenges and process thoughts and mental benefits as well. And it can also be a place for social benefits, a little bit different with social distancing. But like I said, parks are still open and people are encouraged to get out and safely use them and maintaining safe space. So I have seen some folks out in the park in a big circle of lawn chairs, all spread out and just visiting, mask on, conversing, and catching up. So there are many benefits from being outdoors, whether it be physical, mental, social.
That's wonderful. I haven't seen people outside in the parks all spread out yet. That's really neat. I live pretty close to Lake Fayetteville, and so I've been going there almost every day and walking around the trail. So I know it's been well used and definitely is very relaxing for me. So I appreciate that. Tiffany, was there anything else you wanted to talk about, or did anyone else have a question?
Well, I guess if there aren't any more questions, I'll just say thanks again for having me. And if you do have questions, or if you're curious to learn more about programs offered by Fayetteville Parks and Recreation, you can visit our website, which is fayetteville-ar.gov/parks. If you get to the City of Fayetteville webpage, it's pretty easy to navigate over to parks. So be safe and enjoy the outdoors, and hope we'll see you around at one of our parks soon.
That's great. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and thank you for sharing all that great information, Tiffany. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, thank you.